Hello and welcome to another part of this chapter sequencing problem. In the previous part we have discussed about sequencing problem of n jobs on two machines. In this part we shall discuss about sequencing problem with n jobs on three machines. So let us consider one example here. Let us consider this sequencing problem with 5 jobs on 3 machines. So these are the 5 jobs on these 3 machines M1, M2, M3, and the processing times for the jobs on the machines are given in this table, and also it is given that the machine order is M1 to M2 to M3. So every job must be processed on M1 first, then on M2, and finally on M3. So we have to find the optimal sequence of jobs such that the total elapsed time is minimum, and also we have to find the idle times for the machines. Let us start the solution. Now in this case, in the problem of n jobs with 3 machines, we have to check one optimality test. That means this problem may or may not have any optimal solution. This problem has an optimal solution if the processing times satisfy one particular condition. So let us check the optimality condition. This is the required condition. Actually Tij means the processing time for the ith job on the jth machine. So the condition states that if minimum of Ti1 is greater or equal to maximum of Ti2 or minimum of Ti3 is greater or equal to maximum of Ti2, then the problem has an optimal solution. Otherwise the problem has no optimal solution. So actually the condition is that the processing time on the first machine Ti1, that means processing times on the first machine, and minimum of this must be greater or equal to the maximum processing time on the second machine. So the minimum processing time on the first machine must be greater or equal to maximum processing time on the second machine, or minimum processing time on the third machine must be greater or equal to maximum processing time on the second machine. If one of these two conditions is satisfied, then the problem has optimal solution. Now in simple words, if the minimum element of the first row is greater or equal to the maximum element of the second row, or the minimum element of the third row is greater or equal to maximum element of the second row, then the problem has optimal solution. Now let us check the condition. Now if we consider the first condition, that is minimum element in the first row. Now minimum element in the first row is 3, so this must be greater or equal to maximum element in the second row. Now we find that the maximum element in the second row is 5. So we find that this condition is not satisfied. So this condition is not satisfied. Now let us check the second condition. That is minimum element in the third row, which is 5 here, and this must be greater or equal to maximum element in the second row, which is 5. So 5 is greater or equal to 5. This condition is satisfied. Therefore at least one of the two conditions is satisfied. Therefore this problem has an optimal solution. So we have checked the optimality condition. Now let us find the optimal sequence of job and the total elapsed time. Now to find the optimal sequence of jobs, we have to convert this problem of 5 jobs on 3 machines to a problem of 5 jobs on 2 machines. For that we have to introduce two fake machines. Suppose we are considering two fake machines M4 and M5 with the processing times Ti4. This will be equal to Ti1 plus Ti2 and Ti5, this will be equal to Ti2 plus Ti3 for all I. That means the processing times for the fourth machine, this will be equal to processing time for the first machine plus processing time for the second machine. And for the machine 5, the processing time for the machine 5 will be processing time for the second machine plus processing time for the third machine. So if we apply this transformation, then this problem reduces to a problem of 5 jobs on 2 machines. Now let us find the processing times for these 2 machines. So remember that processing time for fourth machine, this will be equal to processing time for the first machine plus the processing time for the second machine, and for the fifth machine the processing time will be equal to processing time for the second machine plus processing time for the third machine. So we have obtained the processing times for the fourth machine and the fifth machine. So remember, these processing times are obtained by adding the first 2 rows, and the processing times for M5, these are obtained by adding the second and third row. So 3 plus 4 equal to 7, 8 plus 3 equal to 11 for the first row, and for the second row 4 plus 6 equal to 10, and 3 plus 7 equal to 10, etc. So now the problem reduces to a problem of 5 jobs on 2 machines. Now we can easily find the optimal sequence of jobs. For that we have to find the minimum element among these 2 rows, and we find that the minimum element is 6, which appears in the second row for the fifth job. That means by the rule this job must be placed last in the sequence, because the minimum element appears in the second row. So we place the fifth job last in the table. Now we may discard this job. Next we have to find the minimum element, and we find that the minimum element is 7, which appears both for J1 and J3. But this minimum element appears in the first row for J1 and in the second row for J3. Therefore by the rule we have to put the job J1 first in the sequence and the job J3 last in the sequence. So we put the job J1 first in the sequence, and we put the job J3 last in the sequence, actually before J5. So this is J3. Now we may discard these 2 jobs. Now only 2 jobs are remaining with 2 spots are remaining. Now we find the minimum element, which is 9, and this 9 appears in the first row for J4. So we put the job J4 at the beginning of the sequence. So we put J4 here. Now we may discard J4, and only 1 job is remaining and only 1 place is available. So we put the job J2 here. So this is the optimal sequence of job, that is J1 to J4 to J2 to J3 to J5. So this is the optimal sequence of jobs. So we have obtained the optimal sequence of job. Next we have to find the total elapsed time and the idle time for the machines by using the table. This is the required table we have to construct, and we have already obtained the optimal sequence of jobs. So we have placed the jobs according to the optimal sequence J1, J4, J2, J3 and J5. And since this is a problem with 5 jobs on 3 machines, so we have considered 3 machines, M1, M2, M3, and start time, end time, and also the idle time. Actually we have transformed the problem of 5 jobs on 3 machines to a problem of 5 jobs on 2 machines to find the optimal sequence of job. Once the optimal sequence of jobs is obtained, now we can move back to the original problem of 5 jobs on 3 machines. So here we have to find the start time and end time for each job on the machines, and also we shall find the idle time. And remember that the machines are placed according to the original sequence of machine, which will be given in the question. Now first we find the start time and end time for the machine 1 for each of the jobs. So first we consider this job J1. Start time will be obviously 0 and J1 takes 3 units of time, so end time is 3. For J4 the start time will be 3 and end time will be 3 plus 4, which is 7. For J2 it will be start time 7 and end time will be 7 plus 8, which is 15. For J3 start time is 15 and end time will be 15 plus 7, which is 22. And finally for J5 the start time is 22 and end time is 22 plus 9, which is 31. So we have obtained the start time and end time for each job on machine M1. Now let us find the idle time for the machine M1. Now we find that initially the idle time is 0. We know that idle time for M1 is equal to start time of the current job minus the end time of the previous job. So to find this idle time, the start time of this job minus end time of the previous job, which is again 0. Similarly, to find this idle time, start time of this job minus end time of the previous job, which is again 0. Similarly, all these are 0. So the machine M1 does not remain idle throughout the process. Next we find the start time and end time for the jobs in machine M2. Now we find that this job J1 is available to be processed on machine M2 only after it is finished processing on machine M1. So it is available to M2 only after 3 units of time. Now it takes 4 units of time, so the end time will be 3 plus 4 equal to 7. Now initially the machine M2 remains idle for 3 units of time. So this is the idle time 3. Next, the next job is J4. Now J4 is released by M1 after 7 units of time and the machine M2 is ready to take the next job after 7 units of time. So obviously the next job will start processing on machine M2 after 7 units of time. And J4 takes 5 units of time on M2. So the end time is 7 plus 5, which is 12. Now in this case the machine does not remain idle because start time of this job is 7 and end time of the previous job is 7. So the idle time is 0. Now here we find that the machine M2 is ready to process the next job after 12 units of time. But the next job is available to M2 after 15 units of time. Therefore, the next job J2 can be processed on M2 only after 15 units of time, although the machine is ready to take the next job after 12 units of time. But since the job is available to M2 only after 15 units of time, so the machine M2 will remain idle for these 3 units of time. So the idle time is 15 minus 12, which is 3. Now J2 takes 3 units of time, so the end time is 18. Now the machine M2 is ready to process the next job after 18 units of time, but the next job J3 is available to M2 only after 22 units of time. So the start time of J3 on M2 will be 22 units of time. So the machine M2 remains idle here for 22 minus 18, that is for 4 units of time. Now J3 takes 2 units of time on M2, so the end time for J3 on M2 will be 22 plus 2, which is 24. So the machine M2 is ready to take the next job after 24 units of time, but the next job is available to M2 only after 31 units of time. So the start time for next job is 31 and the machine M2 remains idle for 31 minus 24, which is 7. And the end time for J5 on M2 is 31 plus 1, which is 32. So the start time and end time for all the jobs on machine 2 these are done. Next we find the same for the machine M3. Now here we find that the job J1 is available to the machine M3 only after 7 units of time. So the start time of J1 will be 7. Therefore the machine M3 remains idle for first 7 units of time. Now J1 takes 6 units of time on M3, so end time of J1 will be 7 plus 6, which is 13. Now the next job is available to M3 after 12 units of time, but the machine M3 is ready to take the next job after 13 units of time when the job J4 is already available to machine M3. So in this case the machine does not remain idle. So the idle time 13 minus 13 is 0. Now the job J4 takes 11 units of time to be processed on machine M3. So the end time is 13 plus 11, which is 24. So the machine M3 is ready to process the next job after 24 units of time when the next job is already available, that is after 18 units of time. So in this case the machine M3 does not remain idle. So idle time 24 minus 24, which is 0. Now the processing time for the job J2 on machine M3 is 7. So 24 plus 7, that is 31. Now the machine M3 is ready to take the next job after 31 units of time. By the time the job J3 is already available to be processed on M3. So the machine does not remain idle here, and the job J3 takes 5 units of time to be processed on machine M3. So the end time is 31 plus 5, which is 36. And finally the machine M3 is ready to process the next job at the end of 36 units of time, and by the time the job J5 is already available to machine M3, because this job is released by the machine M2 after 32 units of time. So in this case also the machine M3 does not remain idle, so idle time is 0. Now the job J5 takes 5 units of time to be processed on M3, so the end time is 36 plus 5, which is 41. So the start time, end time for all the machines are done. Now we shall find all these answers. Now total elapsed time. Total elapsed time means the time required from the start of the first job on machine 1 to the end time of the last job on machine M3. Now start time is 0 and the end time for the last job on last machine is 41. So this is the required total elapsed time. So total elapsed time is 41 units of time. Next, idle time for M1. Now here we find that the machine M1 does not remain idle throughout the process, but the machine M1 completes processing the jobs after 31 units of time, but the total elapsed time is 41 units. So the machine M1 remains idle for the last 10 units of time. So the idle time of M1 is 41 minus 31, that is 10 units of time. Therefore the machine M1 remains idle for the last 10 units of time. Next, idle time for M2. Now here we find that throughout the process the machine M2 remains idle for 3 plus 3 6 plus 4 10 17. So throughout the process it remains idle for 17 units of time, plus here we find that the machine M2 ends processing the job after 32 units of time, but the total processing time is 41 units. So the machine M2 also remains idle for the last 9 units of time. So the total idle time for the machine M2 is 17 units of time throughout the process plus 9 units of time at the end of the process. So total is 26 units of time. Now finally for the machine M3, here we find that the machine M3 remains idle for total 7 units of time, because initially it remains idle for 7 units of time, but throughout the process it does not remain idle. So the total idle time for the machine M3 is 7 units of time. So that completes the solution. So we have found the optimal sequence of jobs, the total elapsed time, and also the idle time for each of the machines. So with this we complete this part. So see you in the next part. Until then, thanks for watching.